Hey everyone, Alchemist Lion here, and today we are sweating it up in lava. Let's take a look. So we're down here by the lava, and I'm just going to show how we got lava to flow, because this one's a bit of a tough one. This one and Pit are actually pretty tough, and it's because you're kind of going on that downgrade. So they start on a high cliff and they're just dropping down. And it's tough to get enough damage going down when everything is hovering in the air. But I managed to pull it off. It's a fairly solid build, I have to say. It survives a lot of the random waves, and 18 is pretty easy going. I'm not going to lie. So it all starts kind of at spawn. Again, we have it connected here to Valley, right at this open spot where they do kind of like to path in between, and that's kind of where I have it connected. So you'll see here where we had these drops, I have it all set up over here, and then I kind of just blanket across. I go all the way across to this cliffside, and it's all covered. I do have these parts open because, again, I didn't want to give a spot where they can walk on the ceilings. I did that here, which I probably might switch, but at the same time, this is all connecting hill, and the husks from hill to get over there to want to throw in there. Okay, so as I was recording that, I actually recorded that part yesterday. A big fireball out of nowhere shifted, no changes in traps for about 2 months, or placements, and all of a sudden the lava shifted and broke these two tiles. Not completely groundbreaking or heartbreaking, because I'm going to be tearing this down, and at the same spot, flingers and stuff aren't really throwing from this position. They want to be a little closer, but at the same time, it just shows just the overbuilding and the risks you take, as well as the fact that the lava bombs, Epic's changes to traps, all of that can come in. I mean, even Epic can switch the way the fireballs go. They can switch the way spawns go. They can change any aspect, and they've done it regularly in the past. So overbuilding, you definitely take your risks. I mean, it's 2 tiles, but 2 tiles can make or break a build sometimes. But like I said, I'm not too worried about this where I'm going to be breaking it down, but this is a great time to actually show that even after a couple of months, lots of gameplay, shifts and changes happen, and they can really mess things up, like so. But regardless, we're going to continue on with the build. So my main thing was I didn't want them to walk over and go right onto the roof tiles over here. And so that was, one of the main things when I'm, doing a whole spread here, is I'm trying to keep an eye on that. I did have a few tiles here which I probably would change in the future, but it's mostly just to stop things from going around. Husks from lava here will go up and around if they're given the chance to, and then hill husks will utilize this area too to try to get closer to that amp and throw. So up there is really well covered. Now our main connector piece, because we're going here from Valley, and we're all in this area right here. So this is where it's all connected, and so I just have pieces here to try to hit them if they do walk across. But really, from Valley, I'm just going right across. I'm covering everything with the floor tiles, and then I'm readjusting afterwards. But it's pretty much just a straight across, right from there all the way to the back of spawn, where I have it right here at the bottom, and then up here I just go to this spot, right up this way. And again, the gas traps I would probably swap out to the ceiling zappers. This is one of those ramps, or one of those amps that have heavy propane. There's element waves and stuff like that, and I'm just finding that the gas traps are actually probably doing more damage than help. So that would be something I would clear up. Again, drop traps instead of the ceiling electric fields right here. But otherwise, I mean, this is pretty solid. If it wasn't for the fact that propane, this would be solid on its own, with no, sound walls and stuff in play. But if I was able to throw a few sound walls up here, I bet you this would be a lot more suitable. Again, also adding a few extra floor traps to slow them down, but That's not possible in this design, so we're kind of just running with what we got so far. A lot of the pathing, it's a little staggered, but because of the way I have this floating block off, and you'll notice all the block off here, it's all hovering above. Everything is up in the air on this build. And lava, pit, they're a challenge simply because of the way that the land just drops down, and you kind of have a disadvantage with your amp being in the low ground. The other thing is any walls and stuff down below here, mini bosses, smashers, if you can't clear them up top, they'll wipe them out, so you have limited choices down here for that, which is good for these floating designs because I'm not banking on any walls really at all. But yeah, this is how I have it set up back here. One of the changes I would make on this side is I've given them a tile right here to walk on. So you'll notice I have darts over here. This is for smashers and mini bosses that like to come up here using that tile. If anything, I would probably put it, you know, one tile higher to make it so smashers can't come up here. I mean, mini bosses will phase up here and start banging on stuff, but I really don't mind if they're distracted, and they really can't do too much damage up here. It's really braced in a higher spot, and so they're not going to knock it down by breaking a few walls over here. It's braced up here, and the mini bosses aren't going to target this back wall here because it's, again, it's floating, and they're not really seeing that as a threat to the actual design. And I'm just going to show you kind of how to have this all coming down. So really all of this bottom part is hanging off of this piece. I would probably reinforce it with a secondary piece in the future, but I haven't had anything break this tile. And so that's what all this bottom part is hanging off of. Even over here, where if I have the mini bosses come this way, I try to have it set up. I haven't had to use these traps, so you notice that they're not really trapped out here. But again, drop traps would be easy to add. And so this is how I have all the bottom parts set up. Now I'm just going to go up and I'm just going to show kind of the way the system of the pathing is going from over here. So a lot of the time, so some spawn will spawn up here. You would think that their natural inclination, because I have this open, would be go this way, but I found everything that spawns here, because it's all open and it's trapped up there, they kind of see that. And so what they end up doing is just joining everybody else. So a lot of the way that they want a path right now is just straight up here, and then I find they'll veer this way. Some will drop down this way, but because of the way that the terrain is and how wide the spawns are, I'm finding that they don't really congest their pathing until down here a bit. And so that's kind of what I've done with the floating block off, is I was trying to just to funnel that down. Because they naturally will do that, I'm trying to stick with that, but at the same time guide them a little bit so that they're not walking to the left. Husks over on this side will try to veer this way. So you'll notice I have a lot of the block off set up here. I'll go underneath. So I have it where it's showing as a floor tile here. So it's registering some extra block off there. And so I'm finding that what will happen is they'll either drop down here, or they won't go down that way at all, and they'll naturally want to just come down here and then try to go down this way for the ones that like to go this path, which I have it all set up to kill. Or a lot of the husks at this point, I find sometimes they'll try to break through here, or they'll like walk around and get to this spot. I find they like this middle path, and I've really tried to like keep it open to a certain extent, but at the same point, I'm trying to kind of, like I said, funnel them down, because I'm really trying to get them to go this way. Rather unsuccessfully, because a lot of the times they'll try to break through right here and kind of skip this part. So, you know, things I might try to adjust and maybe lower this one down instead of having this blocked off. I might have this where I drop them down, right down here. But for what I have this set up right now, this is kind of the piece here. Like I said, it's not a big issue. It's just smashers, once they get to a certain spot here and they come down, they break these floors really easy. And so all of a sudden there's nothing here, and then they're just down at the bottom. And again, I put gas trap, which, because of the type of husks at the back end, I'm pretty sure just having the ceiling zappers are all that I need. But again, this is how I have it set up now, so this is what I'm showing. And then for the floating block off, everything is just kind of reinforced to try to make it work as effectively as possible while it still exists. And again, a lot of the damage and stuff probably would be mitigated by just swapping out to the sappers with pretty much anywhere there's a gas strap. If I was doing an actual build, I might at one stage, you know, throw a spot down and put a freeze trap underneath the gas, especially at the top end here. Probably down on this layer I would do it, especially like probably right here, but because of the way we have this build set up, you know, I'm not working with that, but that's just something I might look at when I'm doing my standard build that I'm going to be going to. Yeah, that's how this is all floating on this side and over there. And then the only other spot I haven't really shown is down this way. Again, I didn't leave it open, so I find that not a lot of husks are going here, but they will try to path this way. Again, depending on what you have done on that side, it's really just the lobbers and flingers and things like that that want to throw at your ramp that's going to go over here. But with it all trapped out like this, they haven't really done much. Probably would look at using block off or something to guide them more down towards the middle versus all these traps and stuff in a normal build. But yeah, that's how this is all set up. I found when I had floors, adding a floor layer here and giving yourself a little extension has been really helpful, and that is something I would probably incorporate if I'm doing floors and stuff. But when the floating design, you're kind of working with what you're giving yourself as limitations. And then up here, again, I just use the healing pad just to add as a reinforcement to heals. Just because I found that using base wasn't really helpful, especially this is one of the amps that it just wasn't helpful on. And the reason for that is the spots that I gave myself for base are pretty much right where the propane's exploding, and base ends up getting wiped out anyway. But yeah, like I said, things I would change if I'm doing floating electric fields, if I'm not obviously using sound walls and freeze traps to mitigate a lot of the explosions going on. But yeah, this is lava. Probably went over a little bit more, but having to do a second take of it kind of threw me off. But yeah, this is what I got done so far for lava. And then, as always, I'm showing off the build in a miss apart. Here's the tunnel. This is the side that, you know, flingers and stuff will try to go down. To be honest, kind of like some of the other spots on this, because of the way it's strapped out, I find that they're not going that way. They're trying to path, you know, down. A lot of them really like, because I have this one a little bit more open, they're trying to go down here. So I'm not having anything go down this way due to it being as trapped out as it is. So it starts up here, and it's really just connected there. And then all this is all connected to that piece as you go down. And then it ends here because you can't actually build in this spot. So you can't keep it going all the way through. And then I didn't want to carry this all the way up and over here where I have in the past. It's completely unnecessary. As I said, not a lot's using that tunnel system. So it's not a huge obstacle. But yes, this is how lava is set up. And that's the video for today on, you know, these Twine amps. Hope this information's helpful. Like I said, I'm just kind of doing these quick because these aren't builds I really want people to be copying per se, but there's a lot of cool just information or, you know, just design aspects in these that I think are worthwhile seeing. So hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching, and have yourself a great day. Catch you around.